Good afternoon. I am Pramod Kumar Srivastava, Professor, TMIT, TMU. My subject is Research Methodology or Business Research Methodology. In this subject, today I am going to deliver lecture on variables in research and statistics and how we are presenting the statistical data. So, the outcome of this topic is we are going to understand what kind of different variable used in our statistics and business research, or how we can present our data in a better manner or very sophisticated manner or easy to understandable manner. So these are the these are the outcome of today's lecture. So next is variables. So variables in research and statistics. So simply the definition of variable is attributes of objectives of to study or object of the study. So whatever the object of the study, their attribute is known as variable. So simply we can say that variable is an attribute of an object of study. A variable is in a statistics mean any measurable characteristics or quantity which can assume a range of numerical value within a certain limit, that is the income, height, age, weight or wage or the price. So simply we can say that variable might be a quantitative variable or qualitative variable. So it can be the attributes or it can be the quantitative term that can be measured. Sometimes the variable cannot be measured because that is not able to measurement basis. Just we are using the different statistical method to ranking the variables or giving the references or giving the priority. A variable can be classified as either discrete or continuous variable. So if we are going to measure the variables, that should be in a aspect of measurement aspect, that might be the discrete variable or continuous variable. So simply the discrete variable is known as that cannot we use the fraction or decimal in that variable, but the continuous variable is that kind of variable we are using the fraction or decimal in that variables. So here the discrete variables. So in discrete variables which can take up only exact value and not any fractional values, it is called a discrete variables. Number of workmen in a factory. So number of workmen or the member in the family or a student in the class or the number of birth in a certain year or number of telephone calls in a month. These all are example of discrete variable because we cannot use a fraction or decimal term in this type of variables. So if we are not using the fraction or decimal in any kind of variable, that type of variable is called as in the discrete variable. Next type is the continuous variables. So a continuous variable which can take up an numerical value within a certain range is called a continuous variable. Height, weight, rainfall, time, temperature, and these are the example of the continuous variable. Age of the student in the school, it is a continuous variable because we can use the fraction or the year or month or the days. So we can use a decimal or the fraction, this type of variable. That type of variable is known as the continuous variable. So simply we can say that we cannot divide the variables. That type of variable is known as discrete variable. When there is a possibility of divisions within the variable, that is called a continuous variable. So we cannot divide a boy. If you have a data of the 20 students, so we cannot use a fraction of the 20 student. We cannot say that 3.5 students, or we cannot say that 9.5 students. But if we are going to explain the continuous variable, we can use a decimal or the fraction in that variable. So continuous and discrete variable, there is only the differences is in a continuous variable you use a fraction of that variable, but in a discrete variable we are not able to use fraction in that variable. But though both variable we are using in a numerical terms, and that are capable to measure that variable in a mathematical or statistical term. Next is the statistical series, discrete and continuous series. Conrad defined a statistical series if two variables quantities can be arranged side by side on that measurable differences in the one correspond with the measurable differences in the other. The result is said to be the statistical series, or statistical series may be either discrete or continuous. So if we are arranging variable on the basis of the series or the sequence, that is called a statistical series, and that statistical series might be continuous or the discrete series. That all depend upon the characteristics of that variable. So might be the continuous variable or might be the discrete variable, but in a statistical series we mentioned discrete variable as well as the continuous variable. What is the continuous variable, what is the discrete variable? In last slide we already discussed on that. So I think there is no confusion on continuous variable or discrete variable in any way or in any mean. Next slide is a discrete series may be found from the item which are exactly measurable. For example, the number of students sitting exactly 40, 50, 60, 70 marks can be easily counted, but height and the weight cannot be measured with absolute accuracy. Hence, the number of students with the height exactly 5e minus 6 square cannot be counted. Exact height will be either 5c minus 6 square plus 0.01 square or 5c minus 6 square minus 0.01 square. Here we are be counted the number of students whose height fall within this range. Such series are known as continuous series. So if we are using such type of formula in the series, that means that type of series is known as the continuous series. Or next type of series is discontinuous. So presentation of statistical data. So when we are going to present data, so we have to present data in a various means. First of all, we have to present data in the textual presentation. Next, we are going to present data in the table format, that is called tabular formation, or if you are presenting data in a graph or picture format, that is called graphical presentation. So when you are presenting data, there is three mode of presentation of data. Either we are describing information in a text form, that is called a textual presentation of data. If you are describing data in the tabular format, that is called a tabular presentation of data. If you are describing data on the basis of graph or diagram, that is called graphical presentation of data. So generally we are using for the presentation of data, textual presentation data or the tabular presentation data and the graphical presentation data. These are the three modes of presenting the data. So first we go through the textual presentation data. So this is the descriptive format when we are describing any information in a text format, that is called a textual presentation of data or formulating information in the text format. The following is an example of such presentation of data about death from an individual diseases in a Great Britain in 1935 to 39 and 1944 to 44. So there is in the time interval. During that time interval, the death of the human being by the particular disease. So when you are presenting that data in a text format or in a documentation format, that is called a textual presentation of data. So for example of the textual presentation of data, numerical data with regard to the industrial diseases and the death there from in Great Britain during the year 1935 to 39 and 1944 40 to 44 are given in descriptive format. So how we are describing that information in a textual presentation, that is the example given here in this slide. During 1935 to 39 there were in Great Britain 1775 cases of the industrial disease made of 677 cases of lead poisoning, 111 of the other poisoning and 140 from the anthrax and 843 of the vaccine. The number of deaths reported was 20 PC of the cases of all four diseases taken together. That for lead poisoning was 135, for other poisoning was 25 and the another was 30. So by this way we can give the presentation of data in a textual format. So for during 1940 to 44 the total number of cases reported was 2807, but the lead poisoning cases reported fell by 351 and the anthrax cases was 35. Other poisoning cases increased by 784 between the two periods. The number of deaths reported decreases by 45 for lead poisoning, but the decrease only by 2 of the anthrax from the pre-war to the post-war. So in the latter period 52 deaths were reported for the poisoning other than the lead poisoning. The total number of deaths reported in 1940 to 44 including those from gassing was 64, greater than 1934 to 39. So by this way we can describing the information in a textual format. That is the presentation of the data in a textual format. So simply we can say that any information you are presenting in a text format, that is called the data presentation in a textual format. So simply again I am repeating that the information floated or given through a textual format, that type of information is presenting information in a textual format. There are certain disadvantages of textual format. Here it is in this slide. So disadvantages of textual presentation are: it is too lengthy. When we are presenting the data in a textual format, it is too lengthy. Sometimes it is not easy to understand data, or it is sometimes very tough to read that data, and or sometimes it require a very high time, a very long time, and the memories of this data is very short, because when you are reading data in a textual format, sometimes the information skip from your mindset or skip from your memory or your brain. So these are the certain fault or certain disadvantage of presenting data in the textual format. The first disadvantage is it is too lengthy. So textual data is very too lengthy in any aspect to understand, to memorize or to keep up. Sometimes to keeping the data it is very tough. because data is formatted in a textual presentation form. Second time is there is a repetition of the word. Same type of word repeating in a various numbers or in a several number basis. So in a textual presentation data, we are repeating same type of word in a several manner or in a several time. So this is the second disadvantage of presenting of data in the textual format. Third is a comparison cannot be made easily. So when you are reading data or when you are trying to understand data, and if the data is in a textual format data, it is very tough to understand the data. So comparison, when you are comparing the two events on a different time frame or sometime or same event in a two different time frame, you are not able to compare that data in a very easy manner. So textual formation data is also tough to compare the data. And the fourth one is it is difficult to get an idea and take appropriate action. So whatever the meaning of data and whatever you want to decide or getting information and you want to go for the decision making process, so sometimes it is very tough to get an idea from the data, because sometimes the data is written in a so elaborated format that it is really tough to understand the data, what the writer or what the author want to say in a very short manner or in a very brief manner. So getting idea from that data, if the data in a textual format, this is very difficult, and due to that difficulty it is very tough to take an appropriate action, because it is very tough to understand the information by gathering the data. And if you are not able to understand the information in a very proper manner or very efficient effective manner, it is also tough to go through the action mode. What type of actions required for a particular situation, because the information is not very well known or very well understood by the decision maker. So it is very tough for the decision maker to take appropriate and proper action on regarding the matter or regarding the event or regarding the situation or phenomena. So if the data in a textual format, these are the difficulties, because textual format data is very lengthy data, the same word repeated in a several times, and it is very tough to understand, and because it is very tough to understand, it is very tough to get an idea from the data, and due to get an idea from the data not in a proper manner, it is become a toughest situation for the decision maker to take an appropriate action on the particular events or the factors. So these are the some advantage and the disadvantage of the presentation of data in the textual format. Next is the tabulation. Tabulation means simply when you are getting the information and that information putting into a table format. So simply the meaning of tabulation is putting the information in a tabular format, that is called tabulation. So tabulation may be defined as in the systematic presentation of numerical data in row and the column according to a certain characteristic. So tabulation format of data depending on the different row and column, and we are using the different row and column of data in a tabular format depends on different type of characteristics. So how many characteristics of the data that depend upon the complexity of the table. If there is one or two characteristics of data, the simplicity of the table is very simple, but as much as the characteristics of data is increasing, the characteristics the complexity of the tabular formation is also increasing. So it expresses the data in concise and attractive format. So one of the advantage of the using a tabular formation of, we can able to concise the information and also making information in a very attractive format, which can be easily understood and used to compare numerical figure. So using the data in a tabular format, that making a data in a concise and attractive manner, and also it is easy to understand and easy to compare the different numerical figures on a different characteristic basis or a different time basis. So before drafting a table, you should be sure what you want to show and who will be the reader. So it is very important information you have to mention, or you have to focus or note that information when you are going to drafting a tabular formation of the data. You should be very careful before the designing of data in a tabular format. You have to understand that for what purpose you are going to design a data and who will be the reader of your data. So on the basis of reader and on the basis of objective and purpose, you have to make a tabular formation of data. So simply tabular formation of data means putting the information within the table, and through table we can understand the whole information in a very easy manner, and it is very easy to understand data from the tabular format, and it is also easy to memorize the data. So tabular formation is one of the greatest way to put data. So there are certain advantages of tabular presentation over a textual presentation. So here we are going to compare that certain advantages if you are converting data into textual format to tabular format, or directly you are putting data into a tabular format. So if you are describing data in a textual format, there are so many disadvantages, but certainly you get a lot of advantages when you are putting data in a tabular format that are given here below in this slide. And first is it is concise. So putting data in a tabular format, making data in a very concise and a precise manner. Second, there is no repetition of explanatory matter. So when you are explaining a particular matter, there are several time repetition of the same word or same information. In a tabular formation it is not required. So we can understand that how tabular formation is more advanced than a textual formation of data. And the third one is comparison can be made easy. When you are comparing events on a different time frame of the same event, or on a same time frame you are comparing a different events or activity, it is very tough to understand or get the understanding from the data of the textual formation. But it is very simple, it is very easy to understand when you are getting that events or information of data in a tabular formation. That's why we can say that the comparison is very easy when you are formatting data in a tabular formation, or you are converting data from textual formation to tabular formation. And the fourth one is the important feature can be highlighted. In a tabular formation data, it is also very easy to highlight that information or important features of the data. And last one is error in the data can be detected. So whatever the error, it is very easy to detect from the tabular formation of data as you are compare from data from the textual formation. So simply we can say that these are the certain points. There is advantages over the textual formation. So if you are putting data, or if you are presenting data in a textual formation, there are lot of disadvantages, and if you are putting data in a tabular formation, you get a lot of advantages, and there are certain advantages of data on a tabular formation over a textual formation. Next is, an ideal statistical table should contain a following item. So if you are going to draw data in a tabular formation, for this there are certain ideal situations. So there are certain ideal situation, and for that ideal situation there are certain SOPs. You can simply say that certain standard operating procedure for designing a tabular formation or designing a table. So first is a table number. So when you are designing a data or presenting data in a tabular formation, first you have go to allot a number for a particular table or the individual or particular when there are many table in the study. So when you are studying and presenting the data in a various table, when there are several tables in your data, or simply you can say that if the table is more than one in your study, so you have to allot every table with a unique number, unique numerical number. So simply we can say that a number must be allotted to the table for identification, particularly when there are many tables in the study. So simply we can say that when there are many tables in the study, or when there are more than one table in the study, at that situation you have to create or allot a particular numerical number to each and every table, that is a unique identity of the particular table. So numerical number also providing unique identification of any table. So numerical number stand first as in the ideal situation of the statistical table drawing. The second is in the title. So every table have a certain and definite title. We cannot matching one table title to another table title, because every table have a unique title and every table have a unique characteristic, and that unique characteristic first understand by the title of the table. So when a reader is studying the title of the tables, so he or she can understand the exact thing what is in that table. So titles should explain what is contained in the table. So by title you can understand it should be clear, brief, or set a bold type on top of the table. So title is very clear in very brief, and it is also written on a top of the table. So always you can use title on top of the table, never you can use title on the bottom of the table. So number or title always using on the top of the table, but sometimes some people using number on the bottom of the table. It is possible, but it is impossible to put title of the table on bottom of the table. So it is mandatory situation that you have to put title on the top of the table. And title should be clear, brief, and in a bold letter. So it is easy to understand, it is legible, and it is easy to read also. It should also include the time and place in which the data refers. So in title we are also mentioning the time and place and the reference from where we are getting that data. The third point in the tabular formation of data is the date. The date of presentation of the table should be given. So whatever the date, on which date you are making the data, or from which date you are using the data from work done by the another researcher or another investigator. So table might be the primary table that is done or created by the original author, and sometimes we are using the table that is created by someone others. So that table is known as the secondary source of the data. Stub or the row designation. Each row of the table should be given in a brief heading. Such designation of the row are called stub. So stub is a designation of the row, or if a row or the stub item that should be in a brief heading. So whatever the heading of the row, that is called stub or the row designation. So heading of the row is, again I am repeating the heading of the row is called stub or the row designation. And the entire column is also called stub column. So simply we can show that stub row or the stub column. The heading of the row is called the stub row or the heading of the column is called stub column. So there is two type of stub, one is the row stub and second one is the column stub. Next is column heading or the caption. Column and designation is given as in the top of each column and explain to what the figure in the column refers. It should also clear and precise. So whatever the stub, either it is row stub or the column stub, also it should be clear or self-understanding. And the column heading is also called as in the caption or the heading column and should be numbered in there are 4 or more columns. And the next point is the body of the table. The data should be arranged in such a way that any figure can be located easy. So whatever the information or whatever the figure putting in your table, that is easy to locate. Various type of numerical variables should be arranged in a ascending order, or that is from left to right in the row and from to top to bottom in a column. So whatever the information about the variable you are using in a row, that is started with the left to right. So row motion is from left to right and the column motion is from top to bottom. So simply we can say that row is in a horizontal format, column is in a vertical format. Due to that, row started from left to right and the column started from top to bottom. So this way from left to right, that is row, and from top to bottom, that is column. So unit of measurement, it is a unit of measurement information through the table. It is stated at the top right hand corner of the table along with the title. If different row and column contain figure in a different unit, the unit may be stated along with the stub or the caption. So sometime if you are putting the information or statistical figure, so through statistical figure you also mention the unit of that figure. Every large figure may be rounded by the method of rounding rounding should be explained. So whatever the figure, if you are rounding that figure, that should be explained at the bottom of the table. Sources. At the bottom of the table, the notes should be added, indicated the primary and the secondary source from which the data have been collected. So whatever the data you are collecting from those sources, if that data is given by the author itself, that data source is author created data, and if you are getting data from some another authors or some another investigator, you have to put that information in the source of that table. So footnote and the references, it may, if any item has not been explained properly, and separate explanatory notes should be added at the bottom of the table. So sometimes we are not able to explain the proper information of the numerical value that is putting in the table. That's why we are using the footnotes, and in the footnote you are giving a brief information regarding that figure. So footnote and reference is one of the important element of the table. Without footnote and the reference, you are not able to understand the table in a very better and proper manner. A table should be logical. So whatever design you are using for drawing the information in a tabular formation, that should be logical, well balanced. the whatever the information you are putting in the table, that should be well balanced in length and breadth of the comparable columns should be placed side by side. So whatever the column you are using and whatever the row you are using, such that should be in a very logical manner, in a very scientific manner, or in a very systematic manner. Light, heavy and thick or double ruling may be used in distinguishing the sub column or the main column and the totals. So sometimes there are so many columns, so in that situation there is the main column, sub column and the total column. So in that situation you can, using the light, heavy or the thick line or the double ruling, may be differentiating the different column in a greater manner or in a very effective manner. For large data, more than one table may be used. So sometimes we have to use more than one table for the larger situation of the data, and the data size is very large. So simply, broadly we can classify table into the two formats: simple and complex table, or general purpose table, or specific table. So simple table, in a simple table, very selective characteristics in the table, or the very little number of the characteristics in the table. In a complex table, there are a variety of the characteristics of the table that make the table in a complex way table. Or general purpose table, for the general information purpose, when we are drawing the table, is that is called general purpose table. For the specific purpose we are drawing the table, that is called a specific purpose table. So simply, broadly we can say that table is two type of table: simple and complex. Second one is a general or a specific purpose table. So further it is classified into the following characteristics. The simple is a simple or a one-way table, or the two-way table, or the multi-fold table, or the complex table, or general purpose table, or a specific purpose table. So these are the category of table: simple or one-way table, two-way table, or the manifold table, complex table, or the general purpose table, or the specific purpose table. So first we are going to understand simple and complex table. So a simple and complex table can be differentiated on the basis of number of characteristics presented and studied. So simplicity of the table and the complexity of the table depend upon the number of characteristics we are presenting in the table. If the characteristics is very limited in the table, that make a table a simple format of table. If the characteristics is increasing in a high number, that make a table more complex. So as much as the increase in characteristics of the table, the complexity of the table is increases with the high rate. So if the data based on one characteristics in a presentation, the table is known as a simple table. So if data have only one characteristic, suppose that the data of the student got marks in their class, but the statistical marks or the mathematics marks in their class. So simply the characteristics of table is that the number of a student in a particular class, they got marks in a statistic. So simply if the characteristics of the table have one characteristic, that is called simple table, and if the characteristics in a table is a number of characteristics that make the table is more complex. So on the other hand, complex table have a more than two characteristics, two or more characteristics. Simply we can say that the complex table is type of table that have two or more characteristics. So simply the complex table have two or more characteristics, and as much as increases in characteristics of the table, that make the table more complex. So complex table are frequently used in practice practices because they facilitate to incorporate full information and proper consideration in all related factors. So complexity of the table increases the information of in a very better manner, or we can use a full information in one table. So complexity is not bad for any table. Due to increase in complexity of table means you are putting lot of information in a single table. If the data are tabulated on the basis of only two characters, then the table is known as two-way table, and if the data have a three characteristics, that data is known as three-way table, or if data have more than three characteristics, that is called as the multifold data table. So simply here we are able to understand that in a simple table there is one characteristics in a data, and that type of table is also called as the one-way table. If the two characteristics of data in one table, that is called two-way table. If the three characteristics in one data, that is called three-way table, and if the data have more than three characteristics, that is called manifold data. So simply one characteristic data is called as a simple table, and if the data have more than two or more characters, that is called complex table. So manifold or the three-way table or the two-way table, all table is under the category of complex table, and if the table is one-way table, that is called simple table. So again I am repeating same thing, that if data have one characteristic data, that is called simple table, or also we can say that one-way table, and if data have two characteristics, that is called two-way table. If data is the three characteristics data, that is called three-way table, and if data have more than three characteristics, that is called manifold table data. So complex table have two or more characteristics. So I think you are able to understand that simple and the complex table. So here in this slide, example given of the simple table. So following table presenting the distribution of marks obtained by the 100 students in the test as illustrated in the simple table. So in a particular test, 100 students obtain the marks. So their marks is given in a interval basis. So first class interval is the student obtain marks below 10 is the first class interval. Second class interval is student obtain marks between 10 to 20. Third class interval is student obtain marks from 20 to 30. The means the student under the 30 marks to 20 marks to 30 marks. Next class interval is 30 marks to 40 marks. Further class interval is 40 to 50 marks. Again 50 to 60 marks. Again 60 to 70 marks. Again 70 to 80 marks, and after 80 and the above mark. So by this way we are going to classify the marks of the student through the class interval, and the corresponding class interval, the frequency given on the right side of that class interval. So in this table there is one characteristic, that characteristic is the marks of the student obtained in a class test, and that is marks of the statistics. So 100 students obtain a marks in statistics in a class test. So simple table have only one characteristic. So here also given the simple table. So if you are studying the table of 3, that is the simple characteristic. 3 multiply 1, 3 multiply 2, so that is the table of 3. So this is also known as the simple table. Next is the complex table. So in the complex table you can see that there are so many characteristics. First, in the row there is a characteristics of the total field, and the field is divided into A and B. On the column side there is a characteristic related to the high risk error and the low risk error, and there is the sub characteristics the breast pathology and the clinical follow up and patient consents. So there are and the sub three characteristics in high risk error and the low risk error. So by this way there are so many characteristics in table, and that number of characteristics makes the table is more complex. So complex table simply they have more than 2 characteristics, and here you can see the immense number of characteristics in a row and column also. So one way table already we talked about, there is the one characteristics, and characteristics is the occupation. That's why it is called one way table. In two way table, so two way table show 2 characteristics and is found when either the stub or the caption or both are divided into 2 categories. In the following example, number of such table is given, and as is an illustration of the two-way table. The number of person living in a colony according to the age and sex. So first we are dividing the number of living in a particular area on the basis of their age and gender, and second the division on the basis of their gender is divided into the male and female, and age is divided into started with the below 15 and above 65. So by this way 2 characteristics like age and the sex make the table in a two-way table, because in this table 2 characteristics, and again I am showing the last slide. Last slide is only one characteristic, that is characteristics of the marks of the statistics of the 100 student in a two-way table, that is there are two characteristics, one is the age and second one is in the sex. So by this way this table may become a complex table, and also this table is known as two-way table. Here also I am giving the example of occupation, number of adults, male or female. So here we are dividing the adults into the 2 characteristics, male and female. So that also become a two-way table. And the manifold tables. In manifold tables we are giving examples of various categories. So first we are taking one category occupation, second the number of adult. The first number of adult divided into the on the basis of their gender, again that gender divided on the basis of married or unmarried. So that make here you can see in this table there are the so many characteristics in this table, and that make that table is manifold table, because one characteristic is occupation, second characteristic is number of adult, and again number of adult divided into the male and female, and again male and female divided into the married and unmarried male and female. So by this way that table become a manifold characteristic, and that manifold characteristic become a more complex table. As much as characteristics increases in table, that make table more complex. Next slide is higher order table. So in a higher order table we can see that when there are 3 or more characteristics are presented in a table, then such a table is called higher order table. So simply when more than 3 characteristics, 3 or more characteristics in a particular table, that table may become a higher order table. The need of such table arises when we are interested in presenting three or more characteristics simultaneously. So when we are presenting various characteristics in one way, one time or at once or in a simultaneous way, we are using higher order table. So higher order table giving you a very good or very simple understanding of the various characteristics or various phenomenon in one way or one site. So higher order table is very frequently used in various presentation. Either you are presenting information for the statistical related information or presenting information in various other way manners. So higher order table is more effectively, efficiently used in today's world. So it should be remembered that as the number of characteristics increases, the table becomes more and more conducive, and it is advised normally not more than 4 characteristics should be presented in the same table. So when more than 4 characteristics are to be presented, we should from more than one table depicting relation between the different attributes. So there is certain characteristics and there is certain limitation. So higher order table is also important, and in a higher order table it is very easy to present various information in one side, but there is certain limitation that you should not use more than 4 characteristics in one table. That is not easy to accepted and easy to make better understanding for the readers. So for the readers better understanding, you have not put more than 4 characteristics in table, but higher order table is very frequently used by the researcher, investigator, report writer or the presenter. So these days we can say that higher order table is in a very significantly used by the different practitioner in their field. Next is general purpose and specific purpose table. So as per the name, general, for the general information purpose, when you are using the table, that is called general purpose table. When you are using table for the specific purpose, that is called a specific purpose table. So general purpose table, also known as a reference table or the repository table. So for the reference purpose or for the repository purpose, table is used, that is called general purpose table. It provides information on a generic basis. It is not provide information on a very specific basis. That's why it is called general purpose table. In other words, we can say that this table serve as the repository of the information or are arranged for the easy reference, such as the table published by the government agency, the table contained in the statistical abstract of the Indian Union, table in the census report, etc. So when you are using the table in different agencies for the archive or the publication purpose, and that publication purpose table used by the others, that type of table is known as in the general purpose table. So simply again I am repeating you that, so general purpose table is generally used by the government agencies or the publisher, and their purpose is to that information is usable for the other or the secondary references. So general table tell facts which are not a particular discussion. If the general table are used by the researcher, they are usually placed in the form of appendix at the end of the report for easy reference. So when you are using the general purpose table, you also put that table in your appendix, that is used for, and that is also for the reference of your information. So when you are writing the report or anything related with your research detail, you are putting general purpose table in appendix, and that appendix make you part of your references, so easy to understand other from where you are gathered that information, and if they want to check the reliability and authenticity of that information, they can go for checking the appendix. So in a general purpose table always uses in an appendix. Next is on the specific purpose table. As per the name, the specific purpose table is designed for the particular purpose or particular specific requirement. So a specific purpose table is also known as summary table or a analytical table, provided information for the particular discussion or the specific discussion. These tables are also called derivative table since they are often derived from a general table. So sometimes a specific purpose table is also derived from the general purpose table, but in a specific table there is the specific information for the particular requirement or the fulfillment of the particular purpose or particular objective. That's why that type of table is called a specific purpose table. And a specific purpose table should be designed in such a way that a reader may easily refer to the table for the comparison, analysis or the emphasis concerning the specific discussion. So whatever the discussion for the specific region, we are using the specific purpose table, and it is easy to put table for in the front of the reader to understand the specific discussion or specific purpose, and by that specific table it is easy to understand the researcher for the specific things. Now you can try to following exercise. So third type of the presentation, already we are discussing that there are three type of presentation. One is a textual presentation, second one is a tabular presentation, and third one is a diagram presentation. So already we discussed two type of presentation. One is a textual presentation, second one is a tabular presentation. Third type of presentation is known as the diagram presentation, or presenting information in a diagram basis or in a figure basis. So the diagram presentation is classified into different way. So there are certain classification of the diagrams. So one is the one-dimensional diagram, second one is a two-dimensional diagram, third is a pictorial diagram, fourth is a cartogram of maps. So there are certain diagrammatical presentation, and we are discussing on all four diagrammatical presentation in this unit. So first go with one-dimensional diagram, means simply that diagram have one dimension, the most widely used diagram for the visual presentation of data. So diagram presentation is also visualize data better than the tabular formation. Tabular formation of data is also visualized data. We can say that the visualization or creating the visualization of the data, but that is far better to visualize data in a diagram presentation as compared to the tabular presentation. So when you want to present data in a very easy manner, or you want to visualize data in a very easy manner to your reader, it is better to use data in a diagram basis. So first diagram data is the one dimension diagram data. So if the data have only one dimension, that is called one dimension diagram data. So here in this chart, one dimension diagram, you can see that this is the bar chart of the one dimension data, and simply there is one dimension in the data. Second type is the two dimension data, means In data there is the dimension, the area is more than 1. So here one dimension dimensional diagram we taken only one length of the bar in the consideration, which is taken by the beautification of the diagram. However, the two dimensional diagram or area diagram, the length as well as the breadth of the geometric figure is taken in the consideration. So in one diagram data you can see that only one dimension given in data, but when we are using the two dimension data, at least two dimension in that data. So that's why become two dimension data, and two dimension data also known as area diagrams. So here is the example of area diagram. There is in the total area, and total area within that total area there is in the particular area that is shaded by the dark color. So here you can see this slide or picture of the area diagram, and this in area diagram there is the dark spot, and that dark spot giving you a particular area out of the circle. So by this way we can show the area diagram. When there is the requirement to showing anything from the particular area, we can give this type of diagram, or you can put this type of diagram in your presentation, and that make your presentation more easy, more understandable, or more frequently memorizing the information. Next is in the two-dimensional part of diagram. Here there is in the stage 1 and stage 2 they are given in this situation, and there is in the certain common area between stage 1 and stage 2 that is also putting in some another color. So by this way you can understand that how we are using diagram to better understanding or increasing the better understanding of our readers. Third is the three-dimensional diagram. So three-dimensional diagram, here you can see that there is in the bar chart, and in this bar chart, that bar chart is looking into the three dimension, because three things you can gather from this bar chart. So in this bar chart you can see that length, width and the height. So simply we can say that if there is only length given in the diagram, that is called one dimension diagram. If there is a length and width is given in the diagram, that is called two dimension, because length and width is in that diagram. But in a three dimensional diagram is length, width and the height also given in that diagram. So you can see this picture, that this type of picture is creating a better understanding for your reader. So when you are putting the three-dimension diagram in your presentation, that make your presentation more easy to understand and creating the interest of your readers in the presentation. So diagram is also putting or creating interest. If you want to increase the interest of your text, or if you want to interest of your thought or the concept, so you have to put your thought or concept in a diagrammatic presentation. So simply we can say that the textual formation, tabular formation is better than the textual formation, and the graphical presentation is better than the tabular presentation. So degree of interest or degree of understanding in increasing in a diagram presentation, or if the diagram is in three dimension, that more interest increased by the reader, or reader can increase their interest in a very better manner when the diagram is presented in a three dimension way, because three dimension way diagram increasing the understanding level as well as the memory level, and also increasing the interest of the viewers. So next type is the square or a circle diagram. When you are putting information in a square format or putting information in the circle format, that is called square or the circle diagram. So rectangular diagram is not very useful when the proportion between the magnitude of the given value is quite high, or example, expenditure of the two family is 45,000 and the 3,000. To overcome this situation, we are using a square or circle. So sometimes rectangular diagram is not easy to put information in a better manner or in an interesting manner. At that situation, you have an option to use a square or the circle diagram. Here in this picture there is an example of a square and the circle diagram. So a ratio of the circle area to the square are given the equal parameters. So AC, that is the circle, or AS, that is the square. So you can put your information in a square format or the circle format diagram. Next is in the pie diagram. So pie diagram is also part of the circle diagram. This diagram is generally used to compare the relation between the various subdivision of the value. So if you want to subdivide the value and you are giving a very good picture regarding that value, and very good if you want to creating the understanding in a very better manner, the pie diagram is very appropriate way to present the information. So here you can see that in a pie diagram, the figure you can see that. So there are different activities that of a human being or the daily activity of any person, and that is an illustration. So sleeping, school, playing, TV, miscellaneous. So that activity is divided into the 5 parts. So in that 5 part, you can see that the highest part is the miscellaneous activity. After that, the second highest part goes to the sleeping activity, and the third highest part is in a school activity, and the fourth and the fifth highest part is in the playing and watching TV activity. So you through this pie diagram, you can understand that how you can put information in such an interesting manner, and by seeing that pie diagram, anyone can understand that the particular activity involving how much time, or the you can just compare that how much time you are using for the miscellaneous activity, how much time you are using for the sleeping activity, how much time you are using for the schooling activity, how much time you are using for playing, or how much time you are using for the watching television. So by this diagram you can understand that it is very easy to understand that, and you can make understanding in a very easy manner by using that pie diagram. So pie diagram is such a very a realistic way to create the interest of your reader. So if you want to create interest of your reader, you can also use a pie diagram if the various activity divided into the different subdivisions. So activity of a whole 24 hours, and that whole 24 hour divided into the sleeping time, school time, playing time, TV watching, and the miscellaneous time. So how the pie diagram presenting your information in a very easy manner, and if you are writing that information in textual manner, the so many lengthy text reader have to read, and after reading sometimes they are not able to understand that what you are want to actually say, and they are not able to get what you want to say or what you want to write. So pie diagram is also a better way to create better understanding regarding your information. Next is the cartograms. So cartograms is and the statistical data classified according to the geographical region. So when you are classified data on the basis of geographical region, you are using the cartogram data. So generally when you are using the information on the basis of map, you are using the cartogram diagram, and you can present this diagram in a very interesting manner. And there is an example of cartograms diagram in this slide. You can see that how you are putting the cartogram diagram. By this way you can using the different color and different color spot. Significance of the different color spot, you can understand that the efficiency and significance of the particular events or particular activity on a particular geographical regions. So you can see that the impact of corona on a particular geographical region. For this you are using a cartograms diagram. Cartogram, by seeing the cartogram diagram, you can better understand that the which geographical region impacted high by the corona disease and which geographical region impacted less by the corona disease. Or when you are putting government subsidies, or when you are using government activities in a particular geographical area, you have to use cartograms. So simply we can say that when you are using information related with the geographical area, so simply cartograms is a very simple way to making a better understanding or better presentation of your information. So for geographical region, cartograms is one of the important way to present your information in a diagrammatic way information. Next is the measurement in research. So measurement is a device or the process by which measure things, object or properties. It is a procedures of assigning numerical numbers or score to the observations. So simply measurement is a measuring the different activity event in a numerical way, or sometimes we can measure on the basis of other statistical tool, that is called the rank method or the priority method, or sometimes we are using the Likert scale method for measurement of quality measurement, and when we are not able to use a numerical value for the particular attributes. In case of physical phenomenon, we use an instrument of the measurement like the thermometer. Is used to measure the temperature in a degree. Tap is used to measure the height and length of the in an inch, or weight is measured by the weighing machine in a pound or kg or the graph. So they when you are measuring in a physical format, there are different instruments. So simply if you are talking a thermometer, so thermometer is just measuring the temperature. When you are talking about the weighing machine, means weighing machine just measuring the weight, might be that weight in a kg or the in a gram or in a pound, whatever the scale you are fitting in your weighing machine. So different measurement have a different measuring scales. So on a different measuring scales, we are using the different measures. So next is characteristics or goodness of instrument or measurement scale. So here we are talking about various characteristics that creating the goodness of that instrument and the goodness of measurement scales. So measurement scale has to have certain desirable characteristics or the certain criteria to judge its goodness, so that one could have faith or the trust in the scale that it will measure what it is intended to measure. The following are the main characteristics of a measurement scale. So simply the goodness of the measurement or the instrument of measurement depend upon the trust of the scale and also the intention of the measurement or intent of the measurement. So there are certain factors that create your measurement, or increase the measurement scales in a better manner. So first is the accuracy and precision. So when you are measuring any thing on the different measurement scale, first you have to select that the particular scales or the particular measurement tools, and that measurement tools how they create accuracy and which type of tool give you a more accuracy. So identifying the tools for the measurement is first important. Second is to identify the scale of the measurement. So accuracy and precision is a first important factor for measurement or goodness of the instrument or better measurement of scale. Second is the reliability, how you can rely on that measurement skill or the instrument, and how that measurement skill or instrument is really giving you reliable information. So reliability is also important, which kind of measurement tools or skills you are going to select for the particular measurement. Suppose that if you are going to select a thermometer for measurement of a weight, so it is a bullshit idea, because thermometer just measuring the temperature, the thermometer haven't capacity to measure the temperature, and again you are going a bullshit idea for measuring the temperature and you are using the weighing machine, because weighing machine is designed to measure the weight, not measure the temperature. So this type of also certain drawbacks when you are not selecting the accurate measuring scales or accurate measuring instruments. Third one is the validity. Validity is one of the important part when you are using the measurement of skills. So if that measurement of skill is certainly creating the validity or that is significantly accepted by the others or no. So acceptance is also important. By increasing the acceptability, you can able to increase the validity on such type of measurement schools and scales and the measurement tools. And the last one is practicality, that measurement skills or tools have a practicality or not. If they have a practicality, then we can use that tools in a better manner and the effective or efficient manner. So tools is also important for the practicality point of view. So next is the accuracy and precision. We are elaborating accuracy and precision in this slide. The characteristics of accuracy in measurement scale mean it should be true representative of the observation of underlying characteristics. The precision, however, mean the power to discriminate or distinguish or indicate the extent of accuracy that can be achieved with the measurement scales. So whatever the measurement scales you have decided, that instrument is able to achieve or not. So example here it is given in this slide. The examination of conducting measurement measures the knowledge and the understanding of the student. The marks scored by the 100 student provided the better accuracy and precision that simply grading the student A plus, A, B, B plus, B, and the. So we are sometime creating a scales or measurement scale on the basis of grading. So grading is also giving you a better picture or better understanding regarding the information. So like the grading, we are using grading system in school examination or the different academic examination, and by this grading you can understand that or you can differentiate the knowledge level of the student. So A plus or above than A, there is another grading in outstanding. So if the student get a O level, that is understand that the outstanding level of the knowledge of a particular subject gathered by the particular student, and if the particular student getting a C grade, that means they have a very less knowledge regarding the particular topic or particular subject. Next is the reliability. So reliability indicates the confidence one could have it in the measurement obtained with the scales. It tests how consistently a measuring instrument measure a given characteristic attribute its measure again and again and leading to about the same conclusion. So reliability means simply on a different time frame, if you are using a same scale on a same phenomena, that value we are getting same value. That means we are using that instrument. That instrument is such a reliable instrument. But on a particular event, you are repeating that measuring and the value is differentiated. That means that instrument is not giving a reliable information. Like in the example, if a weighing machine, you are using that weighing machine and someone is standing on the weighing machine and their weight shown by that weighing machine is 64 kilos. And after few minutes again same person is standing that machine and their weight is not 64 kilo, that weight might be 63 or 65 kilo. So within few minutes or within 1 hour, that is not possible to reduce, actually reduce the weight of that particular person, but there is the problem in the weighing machine. So that weighing machine is not reliable, and that weighing machine is not showing their reliability. So simply when we are getting the information of the measurement again and again and getting the same conclusion, that means that conclusion is reliable. So reliability is the practicing on a various time getting the same conclusion. That means that is the reliable conclusion. Validity. The validity of the measuring instrument indicates the extent to which an instrument scale test or measure what it is extended to measure. For example, if we intend to measure intelligence, the instrument say question paper or out to be such that it result is measuring true intelligence, and if the paper tests only general knowledge, the instrument is not valid. So when you are using which type of instrument for which purposes, it is important. Simply if you from this example you can understand that just you are want to checking the intelligence level of the student by the particular question paper, but the measuring scale you are using in not a proper way, or the particular question haven't capacity to examine the intelligence level of the student, because the particular question have a very general or very simple information. On that basic of the very general and simple information, you are not able to check or assess the intelligence level of the particular student or the within the group of the student which have a high intelligence level or which have a low intelligence level. So it is very tough to discriminate. So what are questions, what type of instrument you are using for checking the intelligence level, that instrument is really valid or not valid. So validity is also important, and the validity depend upon the for which objective you are using which type of instruments. Practicability. For theoretical viewpoint, a measure is ought to be reliable and valid. However, from practical viewpoint, the measures should be. So theoretical viewpoint, it is reliable or valid, but on a theoretical view, practical viewpoint, it should be economical, convenient, and interpretable. So here there is certain differentiation between the theoretical viewpoint and practical viewpoint. Sometimes we are using something on theoretical viewpoint, but that is not acceptable on practical viewpoint, because they are not considering the practical factor, because economy, convenience, and the interpretation is very important practical factor of the consideration. If that instrument is not economical, convenient or interpretable, that instrument is not acceptable on practical viewpoint, they might be acceptable on theoretical viewpoint. Sometimes you can see that there are so many conceptual model created in a different trade fair. If you are visiting different trade fair, in a trade fair there are so many conceptual models coming for a particular segment, but that conceptual model is not sold by the different industry, or you cannot see that conceptual model in your daily way of life, because of that conceptual model haven't ability to fulfill the practicality viewpoint. They are not economical, might be they are not convenient, not interpretable. So practicality is also acceptable, and the practicality is important apart from the theoretical viewpoint. So when you are going to design or going to use for measuring instrument or measuring a scale, you have also go with the theoretical viewpoint as well as practical viewpoint. After that you can accept particular tools or particular measuring scales for your requirements. Next is on the properties of scales. There are certain properties of a scale: distinctive classification, order, equal distance or fixed origin. So these are the some properties of the scale. Distinct classification, the properties should be distinctively classified, it should be in a proper order, it should be equal distance, and the fixed origin, whatever the origin, that should be fixed. Every time we cannot say that the origin is changes on every point of time or on another point of time. So first is distinctive classification. Means distinctive classification means very clear cut classification, a measure that can be used to classify object and their characteristics into very distinctive characters or categories is said to have these properties. So this is the minimum requirement for measurement. So distinctive characteristics is minimum requirement for measurement. So distinctive characteristic means that characteristics is simply very clear and very obvious to distinctively classified and distinctively categorized. So example, gender classify the individual into the distinctive group male or female. So distinctive characters classification is that when you are talking about the classification on the basis of gender. So gender is a distinctively classified into male or female. There is no other way. Sometimes we are using the third gender, that is called transgender. So this is only three distinctive classification. Further we cannot use the fourth classification for the gender. So that is called distinctive classification. Again we are talking about the classification, distinctive classification. If you want to classify data into the gender format, so there is only two options: either you classify into the male or female, or sometime you can use a transgender. So you have a two options. One is the classified into male or female, or you can classify it into three format: male, female or transgender. But apart from this, there is no other option for the classification. So that is called a distinctive classification. Next is order. A measure is said to have an order if the object or their characteristics can be arranged in a meaningful order. So simply order is arranging anything in a very systematic or scientific or meaningful manner or understandable manner. That is called order. So like in the example, marks of the student can be arranged in the order. So if you want to arrange the marks of the student in order, so there is only two options. You can arrange the marks of the student in the ascending order, or you can arrange the marks in the descending order. After that there is no option, because in a ascending order also it become a reader in a very meaningful order, and reader is understand that there is an the arrangement of the marks of the student in the ascending order, or you are arranging the marks in the descending order. It is also meaningful for the reader that marks is arranged in the descending order. But if you are putting marks in a scattered manner, that is very tough, or that is also making confusion for reader, and sometimes reader is not able to understand that the higher limit and the lower limit also, because there is only two limits, one is the higher limit and other is the lower limit. And if you are not arranging marks in either ascending order or in a descending order, it is also tough for you to creating a class interval of that marks, and on the basis of class interval also it is tough to creating a frequency of the particular class interval marks. So if you are arranging marks in a very systematic manner, so order, we are talking about the order. So simply meaning of the order means, so arranging anything in such a manner that makes sense and that make understanding, that make you a very simple understanding, and that have any scientific or any systematic pattern. So order is simply a meaningful arrangement of anything. So if you are arranging anything in order, means you are arranging anything in a meaningful manner, and simply we are using for if you are arranging any numerical value. So arrangement of that numerical value, either you can arrange numerical value in the ascending order or the descending order. By this way the purpose of order is fulfilled. Next is the equal distribution, equal distance. So difference between any two consistent categories of measured attributes are equal. So if you are talking about in a particular category based there is an equal distance. Like in the example, the time difference between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. is same as in the time difference from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So it is called an equal distance, means that there is a distance between the hour is 60 minutes, or there is the distance between minute is a 60 second, or there is the distance between hour is a 60 minutes. So this is called as in the equal distance. Anytime the distance between kilometer, if there is the distance between 11 kilometer and 12 kilometer is the distance of the 1000 meter, and that is also consistent if the distance measuring between the 13 kilometer or 14 kilometer, that become also the 1000 meter. If again you are going to measure a distance between 20 kilometer and 21 kilometer, again it become a 1000, because the distance of the 1 kilometer is 1000 meter. So that is called a equal distance. So by this example you are able to understand that the distance of the measuring scale is always same in any situation. Suppose that if you want to measure a distance of a kilometer, so every kilometer, and there is a gap between a kilometer is a 1000 meter, and that should be every time 1000 kilometer. That should not be above the 1000 kilometer or below the 1000 kilometer. That is the concept of equal distance. And here also this is there is an example given in this slide. You can see that there is in the example the 2 p.m. and the 3 p.m. there is the distance is same as distance between the 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. because every hour there is the distance of the 60 minutes. Next is the fixed origin. Here in this slide, a measurement for the measuring a characteristic is said to have a fixed origin if fixed is a meaningful zero or the absence of the characteristics. So whatever the origin that should be fixed on any time frame, income of an individual or say sales of a company, that is always fixed for a time period. So origin is always fixed, that is called the fixed origin, and the measurement of the measuring of the characters is said to have a fixed origin if there is a magnitude of 0 or absence of the characters. So when you are starting the magnitude from 0 or from the absence, that is called a fixed origin, and after that if you are doing any origin, that is not called a fixed origin. In a graph also you can see that the origin of that graph is start with the 0, so that is also called as the fixed origin. Suppose if you are drawing a xy and the started with the xy, the point of origin is the point of 0. Next is the nominal scale. This is the crusade of the measurement scale, classifying individual, companies, product, brand and the other entities into category where no order is implied. Indeed, it is often referred to as a category scale. It is at the lowest measurement level if the research activity is yes or no. The scale is nominal. So when you are asking any question and the option is yes or no, that means that is the nominal scale. So here in the nominal scale, we are just using yes or no. The order scale, from such a scale the researcher know the order of preferences but nothing about how much more one brand is preferred to another. So in an order scale we just comparing, we do not know that one brand preferred for the another brand and the preferences is how much. It means there is no information about the interval between the two brands. So when there is no known the distance or the interval between the two brands, the simplest ordinal scale is the ranking, because we are not measuring the preference on the basis of numerical value. We cannot say that how much we are preferring one brand for the another brand. So at that situation we are using the rank scaling method, and the rank scaling method is a part of ordinal scale. So simply we are using the 5 rank scale or the 7 rank scale. So simple order rank scaling, when the market researcher asks you the rank 5 type of sweets from most delicious to least delicious. Suppose if you have to prefer that most delicious to least delicious 5 type of food, how you can list ranking that 5 type of food. So he or she is asked you to create a ordinal scale of preferences, and there is no object if distance between any 2 point or your subjective scale. So ordinal scale we cannot say that there is no fixed distance, we cannot measure it on a numerical value, just we are preferring one for another. So here there is an example given in this slide that if you have to taste the 5 sweets, on the basis of your taste you have to prefer that sweets ranking from 1 to 5. So most likely given you are first rank, and the least likely given you are the last rank. That is depend upon your preferences, and that preferences is not measured on basis of numerical value that is measured on the ranking scale, and that type of ranking scale value is known as in the ordinal scale measurement. An ordinal scale is the next up the list in terms of the power of measurement, and the simplest ordinal scale is ranking when the market researcher asks you to rank the preferences. Next is in the interval scale. The interval or the cardinal scale has equal unit of measurement, thus making it the possible to interpret not only the order of a scale score but also the distance between them. So it can be said that two respondents with a scale position 1 and 2 are as far apart from the two respondents with the scale position 4 and 5, but note that person with the score of 10 feel twice as stronger as more with the score 5. So interval scale is a type of measurement that is called a cardinal measurement, and the cardinal measurement we are using the unit of measurement, and that unit of measurement is able to interpret only on the order of a scale score but also the distance between them. So in an interval scale we also creating the order and we also using the distance between them. So this is the advantage of the interval scale, and in interval scale we can create the possibility that the two respondents with the scale position 1 and 2 are as far apart as two respondents with the scale position of 4 and 5, but note that a person with the score to feel 10 twice as stronger as than the score 5. So this is the magnitude of interval scales. Interval scale data would be parametric statistical technique like mean, standard deviation, correlation, regression, analysis of the variance, factor analysis, plus a whole range of advanced multivariate and modeling techniques. So under the interval scale we are using lot of statistical tool, parametric techniques, mean or the standard deviation, correlation, regression, variance, factor analysis. So lot of statistical tool can be used in the interval scale. Here you are seeing in this slide. Next is on the ratio scales. This is the highest level of measurement and has all the four properties of the scale. So ratio scale have all the four property of the scales. Ratio scale present the actual amount of variables. Ratio scale is a quantitative measurement with the fixed or the true zero. So ratio scale is also known as the quantitative measurement, and we are using the fixed or the true zero, and the data obtained from ratio scale are referred to as the ratio data, and the ratio is also quantitative data that can be measured on the numerical scale. So simply we can say that ratio scale is also part of the measurement of the data on the numerical scale basis data. So when you are using the ratio scale, you can use the numerical quantitative data use, and just you are finding the ratio between the variables on the basis of numerical values. Errors of measurement. Next is part of when we are measuring or using the different scales. Different scale have a different errors of measurement. So that type of errors of measurement we are going to study in this slide. So measurement is and the procedure of assessing numerical or the score to properties or the attributes. So simply the measurement is we are using either a cardial measurement or ordinal measurement, and both measurement in a or one measurement we are using the numerical value, and the other type of measurement we are just using the properties and attributes. In such a research study, an ideal research would like to have precise and exact measurement without any error. So whatever you are going to measure, so your basic objective to eliminate or reduce the error, but in practice it is very tough to eliminate or reduce the major errors in the measurement. So found sometime there is a different score that have measure and true scores. So differences is known as measures error. So what is the score differences when we are measuring? That is called error. So simply error is that the differences is measurement coming, that is called error. That type of differences might be the ordinal or cardinal differences. So both type of error coming in the measurement, ordinal error measurement or the cardinal measurement. The measurement error can occur due to the fault in the various stages. So when you are using measurement scale and when you are selecting the data, and there are the selection of the measurement scale and the selection of data, we gone through that process, and there might be the certain fault and the biasness. Due to the certain fault and the biasness, errors comes in the measurement, and the research studies like the construction of the hypothesis, making the questionnaire, choosing the research or the sample design. So and the data collection, data coding and data analysis. So these type of steps we are using in the research process, and in the process of the various stages there are so many errors coming, and that error is classified into two types: the random error and the systematic errors. So random error, they are due to assigneable cause or therefore are uncontrollable. So random error is a uncontrollable error. That type of error we are not able to control. So that type of error is known as the random error. This error do not have a pattern and can occur in any measurement. So we cannot say that there is a particular pattern of the random error, and that type of random error occur in any kind of measurement. So they occur due to the honest mistake or unconscious through the interviewer or the respondent is trying to do a significant job, a sincere job. So it is not due to the fault of the respondent or investigator or researcher, but sometimes due to honesty or honest mistake. The random error comes due to the honest mistake of the respondent or the investigator or the researcher, or sometimes they try to do a sincere job, and by this type of sincerity there are error comings, and that type of error is the random error. In some cases the true value or score of the property is overestimated, resulting the positive random error, or some cases it's underestimated, reducing to the negative random error. So random error occurs in any research or any measurement, and that might be the positive random error and the negative random error. So there might be the situation of the positive or negative random error occur in the measurement process, and that type of error coming due to the honest mistake or due to the sincere efforts by the respondent, sincere effort by the researcher or investigator. So sometimes a researcher and investigator is honest and the sincere, and due to their honesty and sincerity that error is coming in the research, and that type of error is not able to control by any researcher or investigator. That's why a random error is known as the uncontrollable error, and that random error might be negative or the positive, both type of random errors in the research. Next is a systematic error. Unlike random error, systematic error have a pattern in their occurrence. So we already go through the random error, and random error is also one characteristic that there is no any particular pattern in the random error. But systematic error have a particular pattern. Mostly they are constant in all the measurement. So systematic error is always constant in all the measurement. These error occur due to the assignable causes. Thereby the critical examination of the measurement procedure, this error can be corrected if the remove it completely. So the systematic error, there is also possibility to control, and there is also possibility to remove from the research. So a constant error, for example, may occur due to the faulty measuring instrument. So sometime if you are using the faulty instrument, due to the using the faulty instrument, that measurement error is occur. So if you are changing that faulty instrument and using the better instrument, you can eliminate that type of error, and that type of error also have a certain pattern, and that is also under the control. You can control the error, because whenever you have to understanding about you are using the faulty measuring instrument, and you are just changing the measuring instrument, and by changing the measuring instrument you can get a better value. That means that measurement is controllable measurement, and that can be controlled by the researcher whenever they want to understand that they are using the faulty measurement instruments. So systematic measurement is systematic error is also known as the control measurement error. Next is the errors in measurement respondent, where we can get errors in the measurement. First, error in the respondent side. Second, error is from the interviewer side. Third, error is non-response. The respondent is not responding particular question. By this way, that error is coming. And the faulty instrument, sometimes we are using the faulty instrument, and due to the use of the faulty instrument, that type of error occurs. And choice of sample design, and sometimes you are not using a particular type of sample as per your requirement. So that due to that faulty selection of the sample design, the error is also occurred, and that type of error is known as the error due to the choice of simple design. So first we go through a respondent, error due to a respondent. It is most common in a sample survey that the respondents are reluctant to provide personal information to interviewers. In some cases, they give false information due to the factor like ignorance, status, or by non-understanding of the question. So, a respondent error is related with the ignorance of the respondent side, or sometime due to the status related question, and respondent do not want to reveal their status, and by this reason the error coming. And sometime respondent is not able to understand the question in a corrective manner, or in a better manner, and due to that reason they are not properly responding a particular question, and due to non proper response of the particular question, the error coming to the measurement and coming into the research, and this type of error is consider the error due to the respondent due to the temporary factor like tiredness, boredomness, anxiety can also give an inaccurate answer. So sometime due to respondent feeling very tired, or sometime respondent feeling very bored, and there is some anxiety, and due to that reason also respondent is not giving correct answer of the particular question, and by this way also there is the error coming in the research. So simply we can say that the respondent error is related with the ignorance of the respondent, not understanding of the respondent, and sometimes respondent want to do not reveal their status in a public manner or in another person about their income, about their wealth, or about their family information. So at that time they want to hide something from the interviewers, or sometime due to the tiredness they are very tired when researcher is approaching at that particular time. They are not feeling good, or they are very tired due to their other job pressure, or sometimes they are feeling boredom by the reading and understanding the questionnaire you are created, and sometimes there is the anxiety in the respondent. So by this way respondent giving you incorrect information, and by getting the incorrect or insufficient information from the respondent, you can get incorrect information, and you are using incorrect information. Due to using incorrect information, that error coming. So that type of error is called error due to the respondent. Next is due to the interviewers. An interviewer has to train personnel in the art of asking question. Sometimes interviewer is not able to ask question in a very better manner, and sometimes they haven't better skill to ask question in a very interesting manner. So sometimes due to untrained interviewers, they are untrained and they haven't experience to how to ask question with different respondent. Sometimes the respondent mindset is different on a different respondent. They are not able to tackle a different kind of personality, and the respondent different respondent have a different type of personality. So due to inexperience, or due to less training, and due to not very proper manner knowing the art of asking question from the respondent, and due to that reason the respondent is not able to understand the interviewer's viewpoint, or what interviewer actually want to get the information from the respondent. And that situation respondent is giving you incorrect information or improper information to the interviewer. Sometimes interviewer may misunderstand the answer. It is also another point that the respondent is responding in a very proper manner for a particular question, but interviewer is not able to understand that question in a better manner, and due to that reason there is the error coming to the research. So simply we can say that the error coming into the research is due to the interviewer's training skills, or interviewer's experience, or interviewer's understanding ability. So that type of error is known as error due to the interviewer's level. Non-response. Next type of error is related with error of the non-response. Means the respondent is not responding particular questions, or the particular survey or the particular questionnaire. Sometimes respondent is not responding the whole questionnaire or whole survey, or sometimes respondent is not responding few questions in the survey. So due to the non-response, the error coming, that is called non-response error, and that is the major problem faced by the researcher, especially in social survey. So simply non-response error is really a very complex or major problem for the researcher or the interviewer or the investigator, because society is not very sincere related with the research activity, and in a social survey most of a respondent is not seriously giving the answer or not serious for the survey. So people do not take interest and do not bother to take time for the filling the questionnaire, and therefore about 1/3 of the mail questionnaire is never received back. This is the major cause of error in the result of the study. The good researcher therefore always started with the higher number of questionnaire as and the sample survey. So because of the non-response of the mail questionnaire or the direct to interview or the scheduling situation, that is only option for the researcher or the investigator, that they can increase the number of question in a very huge manner. Suppose if you want to take a non-response from the people is a major problem faced by the researcher, especially in the social survey. So social survey, when we are taking a social survey, so non-response from the respondent is one of the major error founded in the social researcher, and this non-response is depend upon the type of questionnaires or the quality of questionnaires, or sometimes the good researcher therefore always start with the higher number of questions as a simple size. So for the elimination or reducing the non-response errors, we are always use a higher size of questionnaires. For the through the higher size of questionnaire, it's a possibility to getting the better response. Suppose that if you are required a response of 500 questionnaires, so at that situation you have to spread the questionnaire of the 1000 or the 2000 question. In that situation definitely we can get 500 responses. So for the getting or elimination of the non-response error, you have to increase the size of a respondent, or increase the sending the mail questionnaire or the interview or scheduling for the, or increasing size of the respondent. Next is the faulty instrument. And in a quantitative survey, constant error is sometimes found due to the faulty instrument, like the broken rules or the sometime broken instrument you are using. Likewise, such as the error can be occur due to the faulty instrument, that is faulty questionnaire in the quantitative or the social survey, or the example of the faulty questionnaire are used to the difficult word, lack of enough response, or the choice or inadequate space for writing answer and incorrect print, etc. So faulty instrument, sometimes you are using the word that is not understandable, sometimes the print of the questionnaire is not legible. So, or sometimes the way you are asking the question, it not in a very sequence manner. So this kind of the error considered as in the faulty instrument. Sometimes the measurement instrument you are taken, sometimes the fault in the weighing machine, sometimes the fault in the meter tape, or the sometimes fault in the thermometer, by the fault in the thermometer and temperature taken by the faulty thermometer, already the incorrect information you are mentioning. So by this way, the due to the faulty instrument, incorrect information you are gathering, and due to that reason there is an the error coming in the research, and that type of error is called and the faulty instrument, error due to the faulty instrument. Next is in the choice of sample design. So measurement error can also occur due to the poor choice of sample techniques. Sometimes you are using those type of sample technique that is not fit with your research, that not fit with your objective or not fit with purpose. So that type of technique, sample technique you are using, that is called poor choice of sample technique. So choice of sample is also important, and due to the poor choice of sample technique, there are certain error coming into the research, and that type of error is come under the head of the choice of sample design. So choice of sample, a simple random sampling, when it is needed to be stratified sampling, will result in a large differences in the measurement. So sometimes you have taken a simple random sampling, but it is required a stratified random sampling. So due to the poor choice of sampling, that error coming, and that due to the fault coming in the information. So that is come under the head of the faulty measurement instrument of the sample design. So next is in the testing of measurement scale. So criteria of testing a good measurement are reliable and the validity. So whatever the good measurement you are taken, that should be reliable and that have a validity. So first we go through the reliability. Reliability can be defined as the extent to which measurements are free from a random error. Reliability is the property which gives same result when the repetition measurement are made under the constant condition. For example, with a reliable instrument, the respondent could give same answer to the question even if he asked to by 2 or 3 interview or 2 different occasions. So simply reliability is the type of measurement that can be taken that can be find a same result under the constant condition. So if the condition is constant, and the basis of constant condition we found a same result, that is called a reliability. For like in the example, if on the same condition, if one interview asks about the one question and the answer is as much as same when the other interviewer asks on the same condition the same question. So if the consistency or if the answer is same on the constant condition, that is called as in the reliability. So or simply here there is an example of the reliability. A reliable instrument, a respondent would give same answer to a question even if he asked by 2 or 3 interviewer or at a different occasion. So if the same question asked by 2 or 3 interviewers or on the different occasion same question asked and the answer is same in every condition, that is called the reliability. Method to assess the reliability. There are 3 methods to assessment of reliability. First is the test method, second is the alternative form method, and third is the split up method. So there is the 3 method. Through this we can measure we can assess the reliability. So first method is test and retest method. So simply the test and retest method is that the same thing used on the different occasion, the answer is same, that is called test and retest method. In this method, respondents are asked identical set of questions at 2 different time points or the 2 different interviewer, and the degree of similarity between the 2 measurement is determined. Thus, the technique applied the same scale item at the same population twice, or the results so obtained are compared. So, if the test or retest method used or implied on the respondent, sometimes the same respondent with the different interviewers, or sometimes the same respondent with the different time frame, and the answer is the same, that is called the reliable. On a test and retest methods, just we are taken a response from same respondent on by the two different interviewers, or sometimes a response is taken by the same respondent on the two different occasions, and the differences we are comparing, that is called test or retest method. So in test or retest method, the same question asked by different interviewers with the same respondent or with the same individual, or sometimes the same question asked by the same interviewer on different time frame, and we are comparing the different answers. So if the answer have no differences, then that is reliable. If the answer have a differences, that means there is a question of reliability. So that is the test retest method. Next is the alternative form method. So in alternative form method, in this method, two equivalent forms of the scale are constructed and are applied on the same population at two different times. So same population, on same populations, method is applied on two different times with differences from the being used each time. So every form have a certain differences, and we are getting the differences from the different frames. So degree of similarity in the two results will determine the reliability of the measurement scale. So whatever the degree of similarity, that is called reliability of the two measurement, and if the degree of reliability is better, we can understand that we are using the alternative form of the method, and the degree of similarity in the two results will really determine the reliability of the measurement scale. So understanding the alternative form of method, just we go for the two equivalent form of the scale construction and applied on the same population on just two different times. So method form is same and the population is same, but we are applying this form on two different time frame, and whatever the degree of similarity we are gathering, that is called the reliability measurement of a scale. Which degree of similarity is we are finding, that is called the degree of reliability of the measurement. So degree of similarity give you the degree of reliability of the measurement. If the degree of similarity is 90%, or degree of reliability is 90%. Split half method. In split half method, in this method the total scale item are divided into the two equal halves. So in split half method, as per its name, just we are dividing into the two equal halves. For example, even an odd numbers item or the two sets of scale are administered separately. So sometimes we are divided even and odd number, sometimes we divided the scale administrative scale on the two separate administrative level, and then the correlation coefficient between the two group is obtained. A higher possibility correlation indicate the measurement of reliability. So next is the validity. So in a validity, a measurement is said to be valid if it measure correctly that is supposed to measure. To determine the validity of an instrument, its results should be compared with the other relevant evidence available for the characteristic. three type of validity may be defined. So content validity, criteria validity, and the construct validity. For the viewpoint of the validity also we have to go through the three type of validity. One is the content validity, criteria validity, and the construct validity. So first we go to with the content validity. The content validity here in this slide, content validity refers to the adequacy and the relevance of the content involved in the measurement. So whatever the content you are using in the measurement, the level of the content, adequacy and relevancy of the content with your study. The content of the measurement should provide adequate coverage of the item what is supposed to be measured. So that is called as the higher validity. For example, in a intelligence test, the investigator should check the question is test to be judge intelligence of the person. So in the intelligence test, we have to ask question, that question content relate with to measure the intelligence skill of an individual. If you are asking a very general question or the normal question, or if you are asking a political question, that is not related with the checking the intelligence level. So that might be the fault in the content validity. So content validity means what content or what measurement you are going for to measure, that should be matched with your measurement. So that is related with the content validity, and that is given the example in this slide. We are going to check the level of intelligence. So to check the level of intelligence, we have to ask question related with the intelligence. Next is on the criteria validity. Criteria validity, the type of validity is based on multiple measurement of the same content. In this method, measurement are taken on the instrument under study along with the independent external measurement. This correlation coefficient is calculated between the two set of sources on the same population, and the correlation coefficient is called validity coefficient or the given criteria validate of the measurement. So criteria measurement means which criteria you are taken for the measurement, and that criteria really suit with your study of the measurement. So in a correlation coefficient, if you are calculating the correlation coefficient, so there are two set of scores on the same population for the calculation of correlation coefficient, and the correlation coefficient is called the validity coefficient, and given criteria is the validity of the measurement. So that is called criteria validity. The third type is known as the creation validity. Here this is in the slide, the creation validity related with the name as in the creating or the creation approaches validity. For example, in an intelligence test, the score of the test may be compared with the university result of the student, and the correlation may be found between the two. So this will give us the idea of the validity of our test. So in a criteria, a validity, just we are correlating with the one test with the university test, and on that basis we are understanding the validity of the test. So that is called criteria test. Last one is called a construct validity. This type of validity is defined as the extent to which a measure matches in its result with the theoretical logic about the concept. It basically involves the correlation between the measurement instrument and the general theoretical framework of the concept under study. So whatever the concept you are going to study, that have a correlation between the measurement instrument. So instrument and the framework have a correlation. Then we can say that we are going to construct the validity, and the validity on the basis of construct validity. So construct validity example here in this slide. To study the use of shampoo among the various economic classes are made in the theoretical position that higher the economic classes, greater would be the use of shampoo if the measurement instruments show the higher degree of agreement in the observation. To this preposition it's said to be purchase construct validity. So construct validity relate with through the example how we are correlating that the higher income group have a consumption of shampoo is higher. So if you are found a higher degree on the two events, one event is the higher economic class and second event is the use of the shampoo. So that type of poses a construct validity. So relationship between the reliability and validity. Reliability is consistency and the uniformity in the measurement, whereas the validity depend upon the correctness of the measurement. So reliability give you the uniformity in the test and the validity give you the correctness in the measurement. So there is a difference between reliability. So through reliability we can achieve to remove the random error, whereas through validity we can achieve to remove both random and systematic error. So here there is a difference between the reliability and validity. Through reliability we can increase the uniformity in our measurement, and through reliability we can remove the random error. On the other hand, through validity you can increase the correctness in the measurement, or also you can remove the both random and systematic error. So here there is a very valid relation between the reliability and validity, and through reliability and validity we can understand that reliability remove the random error and the validity remove the random and systematic error also. Through reliability you can improve the uniformity in the measurement, and through validity you can improve the correctness in measurement. Thank you.